welcome back to Politics Watch. This is Sir P. Now, whenever you do any kind of video on West Kingston, it's usually followed up by the questions about Zeeks. A man who, to be honest, there's no shortage of information out there about him, right? Whether it's YouTube, whether it's Google, anybody who really want to know about Zeeks can easily find it, right? But, I realize a lot of people like sending me messages, yo, when you talk about, and those messages get ignored. But, of course, every now and then I get a question, and I think to myself, that's a very interesting question, let me address it. And the question that provoked this video was, how did Zeeks get the reputation for being a sprat? Very interesting, because originally, Zeeks was the man. Back in the day, it was Zeeks and Dodos. People can remember that infamous incident where Zeeks was taken in by the police and then the people them start cause beer right down a town, and Zeeks come out on the balcony and stretch out him hands, and he was like, it's alright people, go home, and everybody got him yard. Right, enough people remember that one. Back then Zeeks was the man. So how did it come to this? How did it get to a point where people are now saying Zeeks a sprat? Well, the man them will tell you, a long time them used to say Zeeks a sprat. The rumors have been circulating for a while, but they were just that, rumors. And remember, we're talking about somebody who at the time who was so powerful that enough people could never even dare to dream to utter the words, so Zeeks a sprat. Them things that used to just get whispered, and when the man them used to say it, people used to say, well, you want Zeeks a rival. Right, so there's a reason why I say it. Obviously there's a political divide, there's also a gang divide, because you have the Spanglers and you have the presidential clique, you have PNP, you have JLP, so people say, well, you know like Zeeks, so that's why I say it. Right, even though Garden and Matches Lane, to be honest, they have an understanding. So when people used to say Zeeks a sprat, people used to dismiss it and say, well, nothing can go so because they don't know Zeeks a the Dan and him have much pitney and Zeeks a gallus, and so you don't know. At the time, people used to shun it until he got himself caught up in the court case, the same court case where end up causing federal prison right now. And that was the double murder of two men. One of them was called Dayton Williams, right, aka Scotch Bright, and the next one was Rodney Farquharson, right, known as Rodney. And I'm not going to get into too much detail because the entire court case is literally online, right? You can Google the words Donald Zeeks Phipps Court of Appeal and you can see the entire document. So I'm not even going to go into the detail, right? But just to summarize, Zeeks and the two man them have some kind of dispute over who's supposed to get what and who never get what. And it led to them getting kidnapped, right? And then there was some phone calls being made between Zeeks and some other parties, right? People were trying to speak in defense of Rodney and Scotch Bright. In other words, they might try beg Zeeks for Lego Rodney and Scotch Bright, right? But in the court case, some information came out that basically made the entire court get tense. People didn't know whether to laugh or bawl because one of the witnesses stated, and you can see it on your screen right now, I literally screenshot it from the court documents, not from the newspaper, right? It says, and I quote, "My D is in Rodney's mouth." So the witness, I talked to Zeeks and I begged Zeeks, said, Zeeks, leg off of Rodney, right? And Zeeks, I said to him, say, listen, right, when I run out of time, I'm tired of Rodney, I'm tell him to do this, I'm gonna get this, right? As I said, the entire document the online, right? But Zeeks is now taunting, right? And he's now inflicting all kind of pain on Rodney. And one of the things he said he was doing to Rodney was that he had his D in Rodney's mouth. When the witness heard that, he said to him, you know that you're a madman, you're a very madman, right? Now, these rumors are not new. This was the first time people have seen come out in a summary as official as a courtroom. But it was always said that Zeeks was the kind of man, when he might discipline people, whether if him 87 them or him enemies them, him used to do twisted things like this. And that is how the whole sprat thing came around. So when it dropped into the courtroom, enough people simply couldn't believe it because again, now it's a joke, right? Enough people crack the joke now, so Zeeks a sprat, but you have to understand, them time there, Zeeks was the man. He man Dodos, right? The man, the big man in the town. So enough people couldn't believe it. The entire reputation, the entire image of Zeeks was shaken up across Jamaica. But as I say, around West Kingston, and especially what Garden side, Denantown side, them did always have the joke, them and I crack the joke them, say Zeeks a sprat. And they were even, some people went as far as to say, oh, Zeeks, because they must sprat him up sick with this and sick with that. There were always rumors out there, people. It wasn't the courtroom at the first time this come out, right? Or at least the first time people from West Kingston and that side of Jamaica hear about it. But as for Jamaica as a whole and the diaspora, this was actually what prompted the whole Zeeks a sprat thing, right? Now, people, if you saw my video talking about the whole, there was a case I went down in Mountain View and I was saying, oh, listen, Jamaican people need to stop the whole them hate sprat thing, because when you hear Jamaicans say them not like sprat and sprat for dead, understand something. A lie most people are tell. And one of the biggest lies is that in the garrison, in a bad man place, no sprat can't exist. That's not true. That is not true. I will repeat. When people say sprat for dead, they mean poor sprat. They mean nano-links sprat. They mean not a bad man sprat. Well, let me tell you this. Some of the biggest Dan one you can think of, some of the baddest 87s one you can think of, they were sprats. Big sprats. And them turn out enough youths in the garrison. Wally for them, right? So this is why I've always laughed at the whole, oh, in the garrison you can't find certain things, you have to go uptown, go see that. No, it's there everywhere. It's there every uptown, downtown. It's a myth. It's just that if you come from the garrison and you're a sprat, and you're not on the links, then you have to run away. But the bad man them, bad no trouble them. People look the other way. People look the other way. So since then, Zeeks' reputation has never fully recovered. Like people did say at one point that, oh, the common story is that, oh, them do DNA and them find DNA upon the man's chest. I look through the court documents and I don't see that. I don't know if something else come out before, but in the appeal documents, I didn't see that, right? But Zeeks was telling the man, say, him have his D in the man's mouth, right? And that was always a thing when people say from the side of West Kingston, they say, when Zeeks inflict pain upon man, one of the ways how he shamed people and put them in them place, right? There was even another case thing, I think it was either Clarendon or Manchester, where them say it was a similar thing, right? Zeeks' name get called upon, having him thing in the man name mouth. So listen, as me say, I'm just trying to show you where it come from, right? But I'm not surprised. When this whole thing come out and me say Zeeks get caught up in them thing, people need to understand. Whether it's jungle, whether it's Matches Lane, whether it's garden, any bad man place you want to think of, whether it's anywhere in Mobile, there are people there who are openly sprats and nobody not trouble them. As long as them have the right links. Links is the key. That is what separate the me have to go runway now sprat from the me can live in the place and not in the wrong sprat. That's the reality. It's a myth. It's a complete myth. And remember, you know, them time the two Dan name was attached, Zeeks and Dodos. Every time people say Zeeks and Dodos. You know what's funny? The two man name situation end up not that different from each other. Right? Their stories are actually very similar, apart from the whole Dean amount thing, because obviously we never hear Dodos name attached to them thing they yet. Right? But if you look on it, Zeeks inherited the danship from his brother, right? Early B, Glenford Early B Phipps. Dodos also inherited the danship from his brother, which was Jati, right? Enough people think say it come from Jim Brown to Dodos, but no, Dodos inherited it from Jati, right? Jati was the Dan, then he went to Dodos, right? Another thing they have in common is that the two of them, pitney them come end up in the badness. Remember, Dodos have a son, right? Christopher Jr. end up get shot. Run at the same West Kingston. Zeeks had a son, right? Has a son, Renardo Phipps. Him end up get shot. Run at the same West Kingston. Zeeks are prison right now. Dodos are prison right now, right? It's strange because Mr. the two man name they always attached and their outcomes are very similar. Dodos can have a little better still because Dodos not get fling with. Right, Dodos have a much shorter sentence, so he's likely to come back to road assuming he's healthy and all that. Right. But people, we just want to make it known where that come from, because people, the person who asked me was saying that they heard that them actually catch Zeeks with the man, as in I do things with the man, right? But no, that wasn't the case. It was from the witness talking to Zeeks and Zeeks taunting him and telling him that, yeah man, I do this and I do that to him, right? What me say? I'm just giving you where the sprat thing come from, right? For the mainstream. I know guy the man I'm gonna tell me, say a long time we used to Zeeks are going with that. But we are talking about what make Jamaica first year sprat thing call upon Zeeks' name. So as I say, people, if you want to know more, don't be lazy. Just Google for yourself. Donald Zeeks Phipps, Court of Appeal, and you see all the documents. And the next thing that was very interesting about this case, people, is the name Phipps. Because the lawyers that represented Zeeks in this case, they were Frank Phipps, QC, and Miss Catherine Phipps, right? And the senior police, the deputy superintendent, who turned up a Matches Lane to search Zeeks' property, guess what his name? Michael Phipps. So there's an entire group of Phipps in this case, and supposedly none of them are related to Zeeks, right? When I checked online, it said that the lawyers, Frank Phipps and Catherine Phipps, they're not related to Zeeks, and of course the deputy superintendent, he isn't related either. Well, that's what it said online, but it's just incredible to me that an unusual name like Phipps, you can have one case, right, and there are 4 Phipps in the case, right, and then they're related. I just found that really interesting. But when you go through the court documents, you will see it for yourself. But people, there you go. That's how they read the mainstream culture, the whole talk, says Zeeks Asprat, and that's how his image and his reputation got destroyed, and to this day, it has never recovered. Remember back in the day, every artist used to start about Zeeks, and notice nobody now call Zeeks' name again. But don't get it confused, Zeeks still have his supporters, and no matter of fact, you can't go a certain place down town and go call Zeeks and Sprat, cause they might end up get short of the 4-5, right? But to be honest, it's not even just the whole Sprat thing where they shake up Zeeks' image. When time the man them when a Matches Lane, they find out how much money Zeeks did have in him yard, sit down pan, that they kind of hurt him amongst his people as well, right? They kind of divide his loyalists, because people are saying, hold on, at the money the Zeeks have put on him yard, and at this I get distributed amongst them and them. But I don't saw them thing they go. The Don always eat the biggest slice of the cake, right? And the 87s them get the scraps. And they really don't know what them they expect. I don't know if they were expecting some kind of bonus pay Christmas time and everybody get 500,000 or something, I don't know. And the last time I check, you can go down to the Ministry of Labour or tell them, say, you know ma'am, I'm at 87 and I represent Spanglers. And you know, my boss, Donald Zeeks Phipps now pay me right, and me say how much money and I give me this. Can you please file some paperwork for me so we can go court and also them thing to work? And in the end, I think Zeeks did get the final laugh for that money thing now, because the government, they have to end up return $24 million back to him, right? And there was a very spooky incident where the money that was taken, right, they end up going missing, right? And people in the FID, they all lose all them job. And Zeeks can't go court and win. And the government have to give back Zeeks him 24 million because them simply couldn't prove say the money was illegal, right? Them did try to bring in some new law to say, well, if they can't explain where the money come from, then they might go take it, right? So then they jump and take it, and then of course they don't know Zeeks have him lawyer money. Zeeks carry them go to court and win, and they might give him back his money. Even though it did go missing when a FID, the government have to find it, and by the government you know who I'm talking about, the taxpayer, they have to find it. Give back to Zeeks, cause man, they end up thief the money. And matter of fact, to this day, that's why the money, as in the cash, isn't actually stored on a FID anymore. Right? I think a bank of Jamaica actually managed them kind of thing to know. And it was actually the Zeeks case that changed that. Anyway, people, there you go. That's the story as to how Zeeks end up pick up the whole Sprat title and reputation get mashed up. Patreon squad, big up on yourself. PIA, you don't know, more life. Bless.